Have you ever seen a president who refuses to accept blame, and I want to add to that, commits so many falsehoods? I'm being very polite here, calling it falsehoods. Falsehoods, on any given day, he's out there saying stuff that just ain't true. You ever see anything like that?
Never in my lifetime. I said today that there has never been a time in my life where a president was more disconnected from the American people.
I just lost 5% of my brain cells. Listen to that. He has, Mike Pence, former vice president, I will remind you, under Donald Trump, has never known a president more disconnected from reality. He has never known a president who has lied more, who's more disconnected from what's going on and from the needs of the people. It's Donald Trump. There are 30,000 verified checked lies on PolitiFact alone for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, I will remind everyone, in case you've forgotten, is the guy that tried to murder his vice president, which was, that was Mike Pence, actually. He tried to get Mike Pence murdered, specifically because of a lie. After all, two lies, really. Trump refused to accept the results of the 2020 election. Also, he refused to accept that Pence could not simply invent a premise under which Donald Trump remains as president. And despite all of that, Mike Pence has never seen a president who lies more than Joe Biden.
Well, I'm very disappointed in Mike, as a lot of people are, and he's just very greatly disappointed in me. He had a great opportunity, and all he had to do is send it back to the legislatures, let them decide. Because when you had all of that ammunition, when you had all of those things being said about the election, and you had all of the proof that Peter Navarro and others, many others, were talking about, it would have been very easy to send it back and have them come back. So I'm very disappointed at at the stance he took.
So that is Donald Trump saying much of the same thing that he has said for some time, that he believes that Mike Pence could have and had an obligation to just decide, I don't like how the 2020 election went, so we're just gonna do it a different way that we think we can win. It's not true, it's never been true, but now that same argument is being deployed against Mike Pence for a very particular reason, and that is that Mike Pence was asked about whether he would rule out running against Mr. Trump if Trump ran in the 2020 primary. And Pence said, we'll go where we're called. That's the way Karen and I have always approached these things. So he didn't rule it out. And as we were talking about in our production meeting this morning with Brett Ehrlich, he's not saying he's definitely gonna run or he's actively thinking about it. It is true that he hasn't ruled it out, but I imagine, if he runs, Trump is gonna have a big problem with it. He would have, even if not for the election fraud thing. But if Pence runs, I assume that there is going to be a very significant percentage of the Republican Party that believes that Mike Pence unilaterally handed the presidency to Biden. And that's going to be something that I think would hurt him in a Republican primary. What do you think?
I wonder if it's going to stretch that far, if it's going to get to the point of 2024, and if they're still going to be on this. It's going to depend what happens in 22, and then how much of Donald Trump's endorsed candidates that have been pushing this constant 2020 election fraud lie, if they've had some success, and then if that's going to spring up. I mean, because there's talk always about how Trump has maybe lost a little bit of a grip on the party and constant with this drumbeat of election fraud, and if it sticks, then it also sticks to Pence. If it doesn't stick, then it doesn't stick. Well, I think it's going to come off of that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Look, maybe a little bit more likely to sort of irk Trump. Biden had said that he gets people thanking him as he travels around for not going along with what Trump did. Again, don't attack him too much, don't thank him too much either. He could not have overturned the election. I cannot be clearer about that. But he says, I've been moving, traveling around the country, how much people have made a point to express appreciation. It's been very humbling to me. And so he's getting thanked. I would like to thank him for, in that previous quote, referring to his wife as Karen rather than mother. Thank you for that. But anyway, I do want to let you know a little bit of how this thing might go. Here is one of the more recent polls. It's still from a bit ago, but if you were to support a candidate, who would it be? Or would you consider voting for these people? So it doesn't add up to 100 necessarily. But Trump is the favorite in that. At this point, more people have been interested in Pence than DeSantis. I have a feeling that that is not what we're going to be seeing once the real polling gets going. But anyway, I want to just get to a little bit more of the video. Can we jump to the third video that we have here? So the last one. There's a claim made about what Pence did that I think, again, you're going to hear a lot of if they go against each other.
The worst thing Mike Pence did to you on January 6th is not share that fake legal opinion he had with either you or Pat Cipollone, the White House legal counsel. He had a duty to you, sir, as commander-in-chief. He had a duty to this country. He had a duty to the people of America to show that flawed legal opinion. He did not do that. Instead, he stuck the knife not in your back but in your chest. And for that, nobody in this country should consider Mike Pence to be anything other than but retired.
Lest you believe that Mike Pence saying that he disagrees with Trump about January 6th implies that there's maybe a rift, it might grow, maybe he will grow a backbone or turn against Trump. No, on this and on other issues, he's still Mike Pence. He's not gonna let a brush with death change him at this point. He said about the commission and about the 6th, I will not allow Democrats and their allies in the media to use one tragic day to discredit the aspirations of millions of Americans, or allow Democrats and their allies in the media to distract our attention from a new administration intent on dividing our country to advance their radical agenda. What radical agenda is Biden advancing? But yeah, no, it's sure they tried to kill people on the 6th, but it's you Democrats that are using it to divide us. That's the true problem. And Anna, he also went on to say, it is past time for America to discard the left-wing myth of systemic racism. I commend state legislators and governors across the country for banning critical race theory from our schools. So no, he's been cucked, as you pointed out. He's taking part in the grift. They're pretending to care about and know about things that they don't know about, that don't even, it's critical race theory one day. It's earlier today, Texas banning vaccine passports that don't exist. It's all just a big ball of nonsense.
Yeah, well, what else are they gonna do, John? What else are they gonna, they're not going to address the actual material conditions of ordinary Americans, including their own constituents and voters. So they have to provide this illusion of hard work and representation on behalf of their constituents. And so they're reaching out for any type of culture war narrative possible to trick people into thinking that they're actually doing something on their behalf. They're not.